Elayne Fluker, thank you so much for being chatting over chowder. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you your own bio because you need to know who you are.
Yes, exactly. I'm all for it. Do tell.
So for those who do not know Elayne Fluker, you are missing out on a gem and a diamond and an amazing person in the podcasting industry. Elayne Fluker is an author of the new book, Get Over It, I Got It, which, when does it come out?
May 11, 2021.
And are we able to pre-purchase it?
Yes,
Perfect.
Go to getoverIgotit.com.
Yes, I need to purchase that book. That book is for me.
And you remember, remember when I was writing it.
I do. We'll get into that. Hold on.
Okay.
So Get Over, I Got It is where she encourages unapologetically ambitious women to learn how to embrace support, not only for their success, but also their peace of mind. Elayne is also host of Support is Sexy podcast, featuring interviews with more than 500 diverse women entrepreneurs around the world. And she is founder of SiS.Academy, an online learning platform educating and empowering Black women entrepreneurs. Most recently, Elayne was named a founder of change for SiS.Academy as part of the American Express 100 for 100 programming featuring 100 innovative Black women entrepreneurs.
Woo!
Hey, who was that?
Can we talk about that bio?
Who are you reading about?
Just talk about it?
Seriously.
Even Sherline is like, wow.
I know.
We don't mess around at chatting over chowder.
That's right. I know, that's right. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. We entice you with the soup, and then we have you tell us all your business.
That's right. I love it. Soup me up with the soup. I love it.
So let's first off start with the soup. So Spoonful of Comfort is this amazing business which sends literally spoons full of comfort. They send all different variety of soups, and we have decided to work with them when I told them the concept of our podcast, and they allowed us to send you guys soup, send all of our guests soup. So you chose the vegan.
I did.
Ooh. So is that because you are a vegan, or is that just because you're trying? How long, if you are vegan, how long have you been a vegan? Are you just trying it out for 2020? Because, 2020.
Because 2020, exactly. Like, why not? Right. No, I started 13 or 14 vegan. And it started off, it's funny, like you said, I was saying, I'm going to do it. I'll try. First I said I was never going to do it. Then I watched one too many food documentaries on Netflix one night. You watch like 3 of them, the go-to ones. And I was like, dang, I didn't know. Okay, well, maybe I should try it. It was supposed to be 30 days, but I felt so good after. And I wasn't eating meat already. I was just eating fish at that time. So I wasn't doing meat. I was still doing dairy though. But then I realized for me, I don't want to get in Oprah trouble like with the hamburger thing. For me, not having dairy was good for my system. So that's when I decided to keep it going with vegan. So, but even though now this is probably too much information, but we're chatting over chowder.
This is what we do.
My trainer says I don't get enough protein. So I occasionally have salmon over my salad. So I don't like to say I'm vegan all the time, but I like to get things without dairy in it. So voila, my spoonful of comfort soup, vegan soup, which is vegetable, which is delicious.
I love it. And it's so important that even whatever your dietary preference is, if there is something that you're lacking, that you're taking that into account and you're fulfilling that. However your body changes.
That's right. That's so true, because I am all of a sudden allergic to nuts. I think we might have mentioned that when we were talking about the soup, and it's just my doctors have told me, since you can develop nut allergies, as you get older as an adult, or some people have them younger and lose them. But I have a serious nut allergy now, and I just never had it when I was younger. So, mouth itching, skin itching, everything. Wow. So, so you're so right. So I always like to say now my thing, and I think my age too now, I like to say, I try to be a conscious eater. Like what's in it, and then you just decide, as opposed to these rules. And if you don't follow these rules, you're just like thrown off the vegan farm or whatever. So it's like, this is what my body needs.
This is what my non-vegan farm. Even exactly.
Exactly.
I'd be like, come here, girl, eat those
Come
vegetables over here.
Right. Right. So yeah, so I love that the spoonful of comfort gives options, because some places are just like, oh, we don't do it. I mean, I think the rolls were gluten-free, and I posted it on Instagram, I loved it. Beautiful presentation. And the spoon was one of
so
my favorite
cute.
parts. It's so
The
cute.
ladle.
Well, y'all, they so classy. They both are like, yeah, the spoon, the ladle is what it's called. The ladle. It's a spoon. The ladle.
Let's see.
No, you're right.
We like unclassed it up when we had our first comfort of soup package. We were trying to eat the soup with the ladle.
Oh,
like,
I was like, it's so pretty. You have to eat the soup with the. It was a struggle.
It was,
but it was done.
It was done. Because that's what we do.
That's what we do. We take that challenge full on, and we slurp up that soup with that ladle, i.e. big ass spoon.
Exactly. Big ass, beautiful spoon. No, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So thank you so much. I think it's such a brilliant idea.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much. And I truly believe, like, I'm Black, Cheryl's Dominican, all of our interactions and all of our greatest conversations are around food.
Oh, yeah.
Like through at that table, through a meal, like we just throw down. And that's essentially what the premise of Chatting Over Chowder is. Talking with your homegirls, talking with your crew about what they're listening to in podcasts while eating and just being comfortable. So, and I've already sworn twice on this. So if people are like sensitive to that, this is not the podcast for you.
now she says after 10 minutes in, right? The kids not heard the cursing and everything.
Asterix,
exactly. I am not influencing Bethany to use this foul language. I don't want her to act like it's because of me.
Elayne is extremely professional.
No,
I just bring out the ghetto in her.
Exactly.
I bring out the Atlanta hood.
Oh my God, this is so fun.
So let me know, how did you start into podcasting? What is your history and what is your journey?
Yeah, I started off by being a podcast listener. In 2016, I was working at the time freelance at Martha Stewart. I worked there full time before, but then they needed some help on different projects. So I was still freelancing in the industry. And before, I guess you say, I fully jumped into my own brand and things. So I worked in media for many years. And again, this was an opportunity to come back there. But I didn't want to sit at my desk all day and just like, I always say, listen to the Rihanna playlist, even though I love Rihanna. We have the same birthday, but that's usually what I do. I was like, I want to listen to something else. I always imagine I'm doing whatever Rihanna's doing on her birthday. Whatever she's doing, I'm doing that. I'm not really, but that's whatever she's doing on February 20th, me and her, same thing. So I asked a friend, I said, what podcasts are you listening to? Because I started hearing a lot about podcasts at the time. He told me a few of them: Smart Passive Income, Entrepreneurs on Fire, Tropical MBA. They were the three I started with. Now I have like 30 that I'm subscribed to. Tropical MBA. And I said, okay, I'm going to listen. And I just fell in love with podcasts, just hearing them. And I was in the mode of entrepreneurship and trying to figure out what my business was going to look like. What was I going to do? All these answers were coming through these podcasts that I was listening to. But then I got to the point where I was like, all the folks I just mentioned happen to be white men. Tim Ferriss, a lot of these other great shows, Lewis Howes, all white men. Even the women that I listened to happened to be white women at the time. Jamie Masters, and all these great podcasts. And I was like, well, where are the Black women who are hosting? And not that they didn't exist, I don't want to say that, but at the time, especially around entrepreneurship. And then I was like, well, where are the ones who are interviewing women? And then where are the ones who are interviewing women like me, who we don't always know what we're doing as entrepreneurs? Like, shit's crazy since we cussing, like I'm like, they're like, oh, the interviews I heard, which are great, but it's like, oh yeah, I decided to do this program and I did a 6-figure launch over the weekend. My friend's like, girl, why are we doing this? We need jobs. Like, there's just some times when it really gets crazy. So I wanted to hear those stories of the women, their journeys of going through that. And at the time I was saying this whole mantra around support is sexy, like reminding myself to embrace support, be open to support, and that kind of thing. And then it all came together when a friend of mine, Kevin Brown, says that he's the one that told me to name the podcast this. I don't know if that's true, but we're going to give that to him. called Support is Sexy. I was telling them about this idea to interview women entrepreneurs. And I started off with my friends, and that's how it started. I'm that friend that's always like, so listen, I'm going to do this new thing called podcasting. It was new to me. New thing called pod. My friends are like, all right, girl, fine. Can I do it from my phone? Okay. Just tell me what time. Like, they don't know what I'm doing. It's I am that person. But luckily, because they trust me, they say yes. So all of those first few episodes are friends or mentors or people that I'm like, can I interview you on this thing called a podcast? You don't have to do anything. I'll call you. And that's how it started. And now 500 plus women later, all around the world. I had no idea. One of my friends, Zara, who I interviewed, she was like, do you have any idea how many women you're going to meet through doing this? And she was like episode 17. So, I'm like, no, you think like 50? And then 500 women later, I never imagined it. So, and then that grew into, the book coming out next year around this premise of women asking for support. And I always say, remembering having it all doesn't mean doing it all alone. So it really, just manifested from that. So that's how I started off listening to podcasts and then eventually started my own.
I love that, because it's not only the women that you've spoken to, you've spoken to 500 plus, but think of all of the women who have listened to those 4 years of podcasts, all of those episodes, listened to and had gems drop from all of those episodes. You have spoken to 500 plus, but you've impacted has to be 1 million plus.
Oh,
has to be.
So, and it's so crazy that you say that. Thank you. And it's a good reminder. And whenever I hear people say, oh, I started my business because I heard your podcast, or I made this change, or I went to this event, which is the whole thing is a big support network. And someone's like, oh, someone came to my event and said that they bought my book because they heard me on your podcast. And then they can't, I'm just like, oh, right. This is reaching people. People are actually, or when I was doing the show 5 days a week in the beginning, the first 2 years, because I was channeling Oprah, even though I didn't have Oprah team or Oprah money. I was doing it all myself, but I was like, well, Oprah does her show 5 days a week. So how hard can it be? Insane. But it worked for me because I ended up interviewing so many women in a short period of time, right? All these amazing people 5 days a week. But yeah, but to that point, when people started telling me things like, oh, I listen to your show every morning on the way to work. I'm like, what? It just didn't occur to me that I was becoming a part of people's lives and impacting them, whether it's me or someone they heard on the show. So to your point, it's amazing how many folks I get to hear from. And that's something for all your listeners and us all to remember. You don't know who you're impacting. The thing is, you just show up in the world being your best, most authentic self. Bethany is always listen to it. You hear her trying to quietly laugh? That's who she is. She's trying to quietly laugh because she's filled with so much joy. It's coming out of her pores. She can't even control herself. But it's like, this is who she shows up. This is why she sends you a ladle that you can eat soup out of. Or she thinks you can eat soup out of. But you know what I mean? Like the joy, the fun, it is fully on with Bethany and Cheryline. I'm sure you are the same because you're in this world. So, but that's the thing. It's just you're showing up, you're being yourself. You don't know what kind of light you're going to bring to someone, whether it's inspiration or even if you're sharing a, not so quote unquote happy story, but still someone's like, okay, I'm not alone. So that's been a lesson for me and why I've, even though I don't do it 5 days a week anymore, but it's still a show every week, staying consistent, sticking with it. And it's just been a blessing to me and hopefully to other people.
I love that. Absolutely. And Cheryline absolutely centers me. She like, I'm like floating and she's like, can you come back down to reality? Because we need to get work done.
Right.
So the expansion of Crackers and Soup is solely on Cheryline because as I'm like, okay, I'm going to do all of these things and I'm going to do them by myself and I'm just going to make myself crazy. Cheryline is like, oh, okay, I hear you. But I
see your vision. But
I see you, but I need you to, like, she grounds me. She's my anchor.
Right. In a good way. That's
right. In a good way.
And that's just it. And you add that extra boast of creativity that I need and life, you know what I mean? To give me that energy to get through these things as well. No, I love this. And Elayne, something that I've thought of a lot recently is think of the women who this is a regimen for them to listen to your podcast. This is them trying to better themselves. This is them, making a choice each day that hey, I'm going to listen to something that's going to better my life, that's going to be more productive, that I'm going to learn something. So it's they're actively seeking this out. This isn't like something where it's like, oh, I happen upon a radio station and I'm, listening to something. It's like they're actively seeking the voices that you've allowed them to hear, not only yours alone, but then all the other women. So I just find that so incredible.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's like you said, that people are subscribing, or like you said, choosing to listen. There's tons of podcasts out there that they can listen to. And it's not just, oh, this is what's on my regular station. So yeah, I'm humbled by that. Or like I said, women who say, oh, I listen to you when I go for my walks, or, it's a part of, or the show is part of their routine. So, and it's just made me more passionate about, I'm a media girl anyway. I love media. So just looking at other platforms and things that I can optimize to be able to reach more people, especially around this message of women supporting women, showing up for each other, and supporting ourselves. That's really what it is. We actually are pretty good at supporting everybody else, but we have to remember to support ourselves and let support show up for us. So yeah, it's been amazing. I never could have imagined.
And I love that you use the word sexy, because some have such a negative connotation when it comes to that terminology. And it's like, you can be sexy and supportive and fierce, and it doesn't have to go into the immediate mindset of selling your sexuality, or selling your sex, or selling your body. You can be sexy and fly and love your peoples and support your peoples. Like,
yeah, and sexy too. And sexy too is like, you think about a sexy vacation, you'd be like, oh, that vacation was sexy, or obviously a sexy dress or something like that, or a sexy apartment, a sexy place you're in. Sexy can apply to a lot of different things. So thank you for saying that, because I always say it's not sexual, which nothing's wrong with that, but that's not what we're just saying. Is sexy is a new way of thinking about support. Because when I started, as I said, I started as a mantra for myself after attending this workshop called Momentum, where it exposed to me how much I had an adverse reaction to the idea of support, because I was trying to prove something, I guess. But then when I would say to other women, well, don't forget, girls, support is sexy, they'd be like, oh, yeah. Like, you could see you light up. It just makes it like, oh, yeah. So that's really why the phrase, I named the podcast that, but then also this idea of just think about support differently. So that's what
it raises the vibration.
Yeah, right.
You can use
the
that.
Vibration. Thank you. I was like, that's so Bethany. It raises the vibration. I love it. It does. Different energy.
Caroline, do you have a question for Elayne?
Get back to me on that. I
wrote
it down. Hold on. I wrote it down. And
She's like, I got nothing.
This is going to stay in the podcast, because hashtag raw.
She's like, yeah, no, I'm good.
We're not editing this out. And Elayne and I are at a great advantage, because we have been circling around each other for over a year now.
Yes.
And I joined your Support is Sexy Facebook group, and I always give credit to Elayne, because she is the one who launched me into the podcasting world. When I was entering into this entrepreneurship, I knew I wanted to get into podcasting, but I had no idea what that looked like. I had no idea what that felt like. And especially being like a high yellow Black woman who never knew anybody to start this entrepreneurship journey. All of my family members worked at the same job for 25 years. They are retired. They all got the pension, that Black family, just a story. You get a job when you're 18 and you just stay there until you retire. Mm-hmm. So trying to explain to my family members that I was doing this, it was like trying to teach somebody Japanese, and I didn't know how to speak Japanese myself.
Right. That's a good way to describe it.
So I was so elated when I came across, I don't even remember how I came across your Facebook group. And you had just created such a culture, and I know we keep using this word, support and love and appreciation for everybody. That was there was no cattiness. There was no disrespect. It was just rallying each other on. And I was like, this is what every Facebook group or networking group or social group should be. This is how it should feel. So I was very honored that you were my first example of how an entrepreneurship groups should interact with each other.
Mm.
And I still hold that foundation today. Like all of this time later, I still kind of compare it to what I began with you in Support is Sexy.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. It's that if everyone wants to check it out, it's the Support is Sexy Mastermind on Facebook. And now I got away from it for a little while, especially this year, right? A lot was going on this year, as we all know, 2020. Whenever you're listening to this, we're in 2020. But but now I'm excited about jumping back in and doing some new things and doing more videos again. You know, I'm doing Bethany was on those 6 a.m. calls with me last year. Was that last year? Time
That
goes
was
so
last
fast.
year.
Now we're doing it 6:30 a.m. and just, trying to connect and support each other, finish this year, still get some things done this year. So yeah, it's been, and the community, just like the podcast, it has been as supportive for me as I believe it has been for other people. So that's another thing too, when you're starting whatever your venture is, what kind of joy is it providing for you? What kind of, whether it's a Facebook group or your actual business, or finding, when you first started out, what are the skills I can use to create, the kind of life that I want? And then that'll evolve. But just giving that some thought. And sometimes we don't give ourselves space to even do that because of, like you said, our families. Mine is the same way. Came from a working class family. They, worked at the post office. My dad worked at the post office. My mom worked at the library. They got these great jobs and stayed there for 40 years. Thank God, because those jobs sent me to college. I'm very happy for it. They did what they were supposed to do, or what they felt they were meant to do. And then, but now we have some options and some opportunities that we can take advantage of. So.
And it's funny, a lot of the people that are scheduled to be on this podcast are part of the Support is Sexy.
Oh, really?
So
they're just mining yeah, exactly. I'm all
they're
for
all going to
it.
get the big ladles.
I love that. They're all going to I just have to say again, I know we already talked about it, but it was really, I was thinking, I got to step my game up. I don't even know if I send people like a thank you card after. And Bethany is sending a heavy perishable box. I was like, what is this? And it was like, your books from wherever, and some clothes I ordered, and it's like this grand, beautifully prepared. It's amazing. So I'm not even going to try to compete with that. I'm going to tell my guests, you know what? One time I was on this podcast and this is what they sent me. I am sending you that same energy without getting a special custom box made for you. It's insane. It's really so beautiful, but you're such a class act.
And it's so funny because I already have your thank you card ready to be mailed.
I'm trying to tell you, this Bethany, I don't
details, know. She is all about the details every time.
I'm exhausted just thinking about it. Oh my goodness. You are no joke.
Cheryl sent me a text message saying that she got engaged. Like the next weekend, we had a talk about getting engaged party for her.
The next weekend.
Literally.
When did you get engaged? Recently?
Yes, in July.
Of this year?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh,
it was really funny
because
I had joked with my fiance because I was like, for how long did you hide this ring from me? And he's like, I got it 6 months ago. And I was like, how in the world did you manage to, because we live together. So I'm like, how in the world did you manage to hide that from me? And he was like, I kept it in my car. I was like, your car?
Exactly. Someone could have taken it and then here you go. Just be great.
I didn't know that.
He's probably like, I knew you would find it.
In his car the whole time. And I'm like, oh, no wonder I didn't like go through it or whatever, or find it. Cause you're always, as a woman, like you're cleaning your house, you go through things.
And he knew that. He was like, let me put this in the car. It's worth the risk from as opposed to her finding it.
But I was like, I was like, you waited 6 months? And he goes, the pandemic happened. He was like, so I ended up having to like delay everything that I had planned. And he's like, I just couldn't wait anymore. So he's like, he had to like readjust his plans, but it was really sweet. He did a great job. I love
him. Engagement stories.
And it's wild. She sent me the message, and I said to my husband, Cheryl and I already got engaged. And he goes, yeah. Because Cheryl and I, we live in the same city. Like we're just not coworkers, team members, business owners, podcasts. We're friends. Yeah. Like we do we're together a lot.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
So your husband's like, I knew that.
Yeah. So my husband says, oh, Ovid's her fiance's name. Ovid told me. And I go, wait, what? What?
He's like, and I kept that secret in the car away from you, Bethany. Like he
did.
like Ovid kept that ring in the car. He's like, I could not tell you.
My husband kept that to his heart. And I was like, I can't believe he didn't share that with me. And he's like, it wasn't my business to share. I was like, that's marital property information. Marital property information.
It's in the contract. You're supposed to.
It's in the contract.
He's like, nope, I left that news in the car, protected, so you would not find it.
I was busted and disgusted with him. I was
and I'm telling you, I was like, aside from Billy, like I'm impressed that he was able to keep that from you, but I was so impressed by Ovid because the man, anytime he gets me a birthday gift or a Christmas present, he has to give it to me like a week after
right
he bought
away.
it. Because he's like, I can't. He was like, I can't, like, I need to see your excitement.
So 6 months must have been
oh my gosh,
so
I was impressed. I literally, when he told me, I was like, whoa.
In the car. I'm going to go check out what the hell else he got in that car.
Exactly.
He got some dollar bills in there.
Right. I love it. Now we know the hiding spot.
Yes. I'm not going to say what city we live in because I don't want their shit to get robbed.
Right. Exactly. Right.
I may be in Ovid's car one night.
That's hilarious. I love it. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
So we know that you listen to your own podcast, Support is Sexy, again, with Elayne Fluker. It's amazing. Go check it out if you haven't. And if you haven't, why haven't you? But tell us what other podcast you listen to.
What other podcasts do I listen to? I'm trying to think of which ones I share. One is Beyond the Business Suit with Kylie Carr, which is about, it's not entrepreneurship, but more she talks to men and women, but especially women about just sort of life beyond the business suit, other things that are going on with us. Kylie's a coach and an entrepreneur herself, does a lot of speaking and that kind of thing, especially with executive women. So I love her podcast. I love her conversations. I also listen to, well, I mentioned the first one I started was Smart Passive Income. That's the first podcast I ever subscribed to with Pat Flynn. I still listen to that today, which is just crazy. Hopefully I'll be on there one day. Another one I listened to, so many, what else did I say was my favorite?
So you also said Quote of the Day.
Quote of the Day show with Sean Croxton. I love that show. So that's like a mini TED Talk every day. You just listen. I think it's Monday through Friday, which, I love that Monday through Friday situation I used to do. But it's just, he pulls either a YouTube video or something, just a conversation or a presentation or TED Talk like style message from whoever he features that clip on the show and he talks about it a little bit, but it's just like a little bit of inspiration every day. And I just love that concept too. I'm like, brilliant, just pull somebody's and it's funny because he had a whole different show. He does fantastic interviews, but he was saying how he had this idea for so long and people are like, oh, nobody wants to, the whole thing, nobody wants to hear that. It has definitely over 1 million downloads. He might be doing that much a month now. So just an example of, going with your gut. If it's something you feel that would be inspiring to you, how I started my podcast, why not try it if this is something you think people want to listen to? So I just love his show and his energy and everything.
It's funny because when you recommended it, I got an opportunity to listen to it. I know Cheryline did as well. Yeah. In the couple of episodes that I listened to, and it was like, you essentially don't give away your power. If you're mad, it's because you're choosing to be mad. You can't say that somebody else made you mad. And at that time, girl, my phone is a hot mess. The struggle is real. And I need to get a new one. I'm actually going on Friday because I can't live this life anymore. And as I'm battling my phone and I'm like all of the rough swear words, the Christmas Story.
Right.
I was listening to that episode and I was like, damn, Elayne just schooled me and she didn't even know that she was schooling me, but she brought me to this podcast and it's schooling me and I need to get my shit together.
Right. I'm mad because I want to be mad. Right.
I was like, I don't want to be mad at an inanimate object that's just dying because I've had it for 48 years.
I know. The phone's like, I'm tired. You see, they've had 6 versions. It's time to upgrade. So,
like the batteries starting to swell, and I'm like, well, this can't be good.
Oh, right. At this point, it's dangerous. At this point, it's dangerous for Bethany to use her phone. She's got to get something new. But you're like me. I'm like that with technology. Like it's until the wheels fall off. Like And that's why they do that with the iPhone, because they know people like you and I exist. It just stops working. Just stops like, working. You know what? We're not gonna have
it
that
eventually
version.
does.
Yeah, and at first people used to be like, I think no. Apple's like,
It
no, we do
does.
that on
They
purpose.
do.
We stop it from working so you can come buy a new one. Like, it's what we do. So
Genius. It's genius.
But you have to, because I'm that. Oh, you know what? I don't know if this is gonna be on. So I'm gonna show you how much I'm that person. This is like the first iPhone. It doesn't work. I can't throw it away because I feel like this is. Look at this. The outlet is like the old
Big one.
my old logo for my company. Chic Rebellion is the name of my company, but look at and it's just in a drawer for no reason. So
I love that you have it at your immediate.
Why is it like within arm's reach?
Within arm's reach.
Why is this not in a closet somewhere? Because it cannot be used. I can't even tell. I don't even have this charger type anymore.
That's my favorite part of the whole entire podcast episode right now. The fact that you had this 1928.
It literally was my first one. It's like my
within
first
arm's reach. Just as like
iPhone.
it's like your
little
pig pen
buttons.
security blanket.
Right. I don't even know how to turn it on.
And it's so small too compared to
so
like the ones
cute.
now.
I don't know. I don't want to get rid of it. But
so we're going to have to upload this episode on YouTube just so people, after they listen to the audio, can see this throwback.
I'm not ashamed of my old ass phone.
Steve
Apple
Jobs
should
made
love
that
me
phone.
for that. This is like classic Jordan situation here.
Classic Jordan.
Well, not only that, but I also want to say, if you got the first one or like one of the first ones, they were like, that was like crazy. Like at that time, anyone like to even get that phone. Then. Yeah. I remember like how big of a deal that was.
Yeah. This is one of the very early, like the 5 or something, up to like 12 now, something like that.
Yeah.
Or 4. Yeah. So
that needs to be like
random.
Locked away in a museum or in Arvid's car, since it's probably worth money.
Exactly. You two are the only two, and whoever you share this with on YouTube, the thousands of people who will see it on YouTube, are the only ones who know that this is in my drawer close by, because I like to see it.
It's also kind of like a testament of things like from where it used to be to where you are now. You know what I mean? And how it's still like
Bethany's like, oh, you're so nice to try to make her feel better.
But connection of the dots.
Which is very Steve Jobs, right? He says you can only connect the dots looking back. So I had to look back at the old iPhone.
Exactly. No, but
if you didn't get chills from that.
If you didn't get chills from how we wrap that all together, that's what they call closing the loop in interview speak. We close that loop.
No, but truly, I think that it's a beautiful thing to look at, like where you started and where that foundation was and how far you've come. And I think that's an awesome reminder to have it at arm's reach. It's like it's something where it's like you can remind yourself every now and then, like, this is where I started and like this is where I am.
You're so funny. That's so funny. Excuse me. You are funny in a good way, but I meant to say that's so funny because on my phone, the new phone, I actually have pictures I happened to find some pictures recently of me when I was an editorial assistant at Essence magazine I started there. That's where I started my journalism career in 1996. So even though I'm only 20 years old, I don't know how that was possible, but these pictures of me in the I know if I wasn't using, I don't want to mess up my phone, but it's on the phone, pictures of me in my cubicle with a telephone on the desk back when we used to call people. Like this was before we had emails at work. This is how ancient I am. But just seeing those pictures, to your point, it's just like, wow, that's amazing for me even to see where you come from when I was dreaming about writing a book one day and now a book comes out next year, so sometimes you do have to pause and just look at, even daily, I do it at the end of the day. Like, what are the 3 things you're really proud you accomplished today? Sometimes it's just, you didn't do nothing today. That was great. You know what I mean? And other days it's, oh, you did this, this, and this. Because we get so, I know I do, anxious and, tense about what we didn't do. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What did you do today? And I even post that sometimes online on social media. Just, you look at all you've done today and all you have planned for tomorrow. You're good. You can rest. You can relax. So yeah, I agree.
Elayne, I could talk to you for forever. I just adore you. I mean, I adored you from jump.
and I actually have so my initial question, which I kind of want to
don't try to come back with your question.
No.
65 minutes later.
Because I was.
She's like, oh, remember I said I like her now, so now I'm gonna ask her a question.
Sure, let's like, and now I'm in my comfort zone.
Now
I saw your old ass phone.
I know. So you're normal. Okay, you're a nerd. No, sorry. What's your question?
No, I was going to ask, sort of, out of all the women you've interviewed, which one was your favorite? But I actually want to ask instead is what woman do you feel has supported you the most, or sort of was a milestone in your career that like that support was sexy to you, that helped you sort of advance?
Ooh, that was worth the wait. Wow. Supported me the most in my career. I will have to say, in my career and in life, my mom. I was thinking about all these mentors and women that I've had over the years. There are so many: Monique Greenwood, Susan Taylor, Robin Stone, Rosemary Robotham, all the women when I worked at Essence, especially because I was in my 20s then. I know I said I was 20 now, but whatever. I'm like Benjamin Button, whatever. But I was in my 20s then, but it was, my first job. And I didn't even know you could be a writer. I always wanted to be that, but I didn't know that was a thing. I definitely didn't know there was a whole floor within a corporate building in Times Square of Black women who were doing that for a living. It was just like utopia. I was like, what is this? All these brilliant writers and editors, like all the biggest authors. I mean, Isabel Wilkerson, who wrote Caste recently, the amazing book. I was her editor later in my, career. It just Pearl Clegg, all these amazing women. So those women really inspired me. But I would say my mom, because she is the woman who drove from Long Island to Brooklyn every day, to the Brooklyn Public Library and Brownsville and Fort Greene, all these other places in BK that you were scared to go to at the time, but now you can't afford to live there. But she, come back and forth and drive back to Long Island and cook dinner for us and do all these things. And because she wanted to create a way for, for us, especially for me, I was the youngest. So my sisters and brother were older, grown already out the house, for me to go to college and do all these things. And then for me here I come, supposed to be able to get a good job and then say, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, just risk it all. So for her to support me through all of that, and even today, it makes me want to weep. She's just, even though, she didn't always disagree with it, she still doesn't. But I've learned to tell her the things I've done, not the things I'm planning. Planning makes them nervous at this point. They're in their 90s. They don't need to hear about no plans because all they can see is the problems. They need to hear, what have you done? Oh, you won a thing with American Express? That's great. Not, I'm applying, none of that. You got to structure the conversation, right? But she has really, and my dad too, she has really, though, just been like, okay, all right, babe, okay. As nervous as she, and I don't have children, but well, Bethany, I know you do, but just that thing they say, it's like having your heart live outside of your body. So you're always going to be worried, even if you're wishing the best for them, which most likely you are, you're good people. Just that I don't get that nervousness because I don't have children. I don't relate in that same way. I get the idea of it. So, I understand the nervousness and the fear that goes into that, but still, she has always supported me. And I appreciate that. Now she tells me how she prays to God because she's so proud. Now she's so proud. Before she was praying because she was so worried. Now she's so, like, I just pray that you decide to get a job, the post office is hiring. Nothing's wrong with that. Like I said, post office got me through college. I'm like, Mom, but I am an entrepreneur. She's like, girl, you are killing me. What? But she has always supported me, and just an amazing, amazing woman. Like the wisest woman I know, the funniest woman I know, the sassiest 91-year-old I know. It's a blessing. So yeah. Thank you for that question. That was fun to think about her. Yeah.
And can we even talk about how like Black don't crack? Because if you follow Elayne Fluker on Instagram, her parents are freaking gorgeous.
They're freaks of nature. Even I'm like, you guys look good. And then every time they go to the doctor, I take them to the doctor. They come home like, guess how old the doctor thought I was? I'm like, 70. I mean, and what's funny is 70 is huge if you're 91. You know what I mean? They're like, she thought she couldn't believe she wanted to see my license. I'm like, I know. My dad, the same guess. They told me they can't believe how old I am. But it's a blessing. And I only hope and pray that I get to, and listen, my parents were born in Alabama, deep South in 1929. Wow. So just for them to live to today and see all the things they've seen, and, they were Democratic, they voted for President Obama twice. So even to I remember I told my dad, there's this black man running for president. I was in New York. I really think you, my dad's like, no, I can't no black man be no president. I always remind him that, like, there's no, then they saw him and started, I was like, come to the dark side. I'm telling you, I think this guy's the one. So anyway, long story short, but just the idea that, can you imagine you grew up in Alabama in 1929 when you couldn't even look at a white person? They tell me how they used to have to step off the curb and get in the street if a white person was coming down the, you know, like that level of real. Or my mom talks about how you couldn't try on shoes when you went into the store because they didn't want your black feet in the shoes. You just had to buy them and hope they were your size and take them with you and get out fast. So just a lot of those stories. And I'm happy, you know, with my parents being older than me, they had me in their 40s. I was an uh-oh baby. But them being able to share those stories with me, you know, just is a reminder for me, again, of the opportunity. And it's also, I know I'm rambling, but it's also a reminder to me of why the fear sometimes when you are talking about taking risks. So when you think about that, the people that love you, I used to have this thing of, why can't they support me? I don't understand why they are supporting you. But that fear is real when you think about all you wanted back then was a good job so you could survive and get it, you know. So you have to think about people, the people who love you, especially their perspective, like you said, Bethany, with your family. It's just sort of like, what are you doing now? But this is not why we did all these things. They want you to be okay. So I'm just, it's given me a lot of perspective with age and going through this entrepreneurship thing. It's helped us come closer. They understand me more. I am getting to understand them more. And thanks for letting me chat over chowder.
I love that. I love you. Wait, we have one more question. So we are going to wrap it up by saying bisque, please.
Bisque, please. I love it.
So in our bisque, please segment, you are going to tell our listeners, and I'm going to listen to this episode like 15 times. So I'm like, oh my God, look at all these downloads and listeners. It's going to be me.
Right. Why are these all from the same town? Right.
So in our bisque, please segment, I need you to tell me where our listeners can find you and what you're currently promoting.
Yes, you can find me at ElayneFluker.com. That's where all the things are. You can find the podcast there and all that good stuff. But please, I would love for you to go check out the book. My vision and my intention is for this book to reach at least 1 million women, not even just to sell 1 million copies, whatever that looks like, reaching 1 million women. So talking to you all, doing other podcasts, doing TV interviews and other things that we're signed up for. Just want to reach women with this message, especially like you all, unapologetically ambitious women who are about the business. This idea of pausing and remembering to ask for support, to ask for and accept support, because sometimes you don't have to ask, it's showing up for you, but you're just like, no, I got it, which is where the premise of the book comes from. I got it syndrome, right? We don't even think about it. We're not even conscious and present. And we just say, I got it without even thinking about it. So I want as many of you to go to getoverigot.com. You can see the book there. You can see a video of me talking about I got it syndrome. We're going to be adding some more things there. You can also, if you pre-order the book and just email me, get on the email list, I'll send you a free worksheet where you can learn how to decide what your all is, right? So there's a whole discussion about, can women really have it all? Or you can have it all, you can't have it all at the same time, or no, it's not possible. I say you have to define what your all is, because my all is different than Bethany's all, it's different than Cherylline's all, you know, everybody's all is different. So if you want to download that, you can get that download. You can also get on our email list and I can send you that. So I would say go to getoverigot.com. That would be excellent. You can find all my things and links and stuff there too.
And I'm going to have a breakdown in our show notes of where to find you, where to find your book, where to find your podcast, and all things Elayne Fluker, because #adore you.
Yes,
Yay,
you are awesome. I'm so excited and happy that I actually got to meet you. Bethany's always raved about you. So, and I absolutely see why she loves you so much.
You can see why she loves this wacky woman over here. What a thing. You got to, I don't know if you got the beginning parts of me trying to get into the soup. That was hilarious. This is awesome. Let me tell you, spoonful of comfort. They know they lock it down. They're like, you're not going to see soup floating in your box. I know that much. It's going to be in this jar till you fry your way into it. No, but it's delicious. And I'm so happy to spend time with you both. This is so much fun. So much fun.
Thank you. Seriously, this was so much fun. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.